You are where you are right now because of the decisions, good and bad, you made in the past. Decide now what your future is to be. Well, my friends, I'm doing the show for a second time. I just finished recording it, went back to check the audio levels, and there's no sound. So you're going to get the second version, which I hope is even better than the first. We see stocks are mixed for the day. Bitcoin and bonds are down. Gold is up. Barely. In fact, stocks are ranging almost flat. But let's look at what we see for the week. We see on the S&P 500 very little volume. You know, we're barely up to maybe average. We didn't hit average last week, but we may be even lower this week. We'll see how the market closes on Friday. You can see where things popped up in the morning and then shaved that off in the afternoon with a doji. We have not a flat trend line, but not much of a trend line. We had the high of highs here back on the week beginning the 27th of October, then two dojis, then that strong down move last week, a green spinning top, this week trying to move up. Looks to me like the market's just sort of waiting on what happens on the Fed meeting. And I think because the market has taken that as being extremely important as to where things are going to go, whether it's interest rate cut or not, I think that's going to really have a big impact. And I think we're just sort of holding out for that. And that may really be the catalyst that moves things up or down. So keep your powder dry. Pay attention in your practice trades. Nonetheless, I look at the trade execution summary grid. It's a high directional probability and a decent backtest accuracy for an up move. Continued to the tune of about $3.50. So, and that's our 5-day plus ETF trading analysis. So if you want to get, of course, that on a daily basis, actually the day before the market opens, you, of course, become a Patreon supporter at any of the three levels. We'll get it to you. Otherwise, we release it the day after. So what do we see going on? Well, not a lot of volume. The 2-day has already closed. That's not a lot of volume. And we look at the half day and we see we haven't had average volume. We have to go all the way back, as I was saying yesterday, to Thursday, the 20th of November. So again, things have moved up 0.07%, so very little, pretty much flat. And I think the market's just waiting to see what's going to happen with the Fed. Now, we look at the NASDAQ. This trend line, as it loads up, it isn't much of a trend line. It's a corpse. It's just laying flat. That's a horizontal line. That's not much of a trend, my friends. And again, just sort of shows you the weakness of where we are. Yes, we do have a green up candle for the week. We're a long way away from that prior high back on the week beginning the 27th of October, down 0.09% technically. You can see that doji at the end of the day. Volume did reach average in the morning, but fell off in the afternoon. So again, pretty much ditto of what we're seeing with the S&P, except a weaker trend line. Now on 20-year U.S. government bonds, it was down the most for the day, 0.54%. So a little over 0.5%. I don't even have a trend line here because I don't have any way to draw a trend line. We don't connect a green and a red candle. I can't connect this red candle to the prior red candles because of the up move last week. But we can see on the 2-day where things have dropped off. We had that huge down move on Monday. We had an up move on Wednesday and then rolling back over. So all things being equal, there is downward momentum. We look at the trade execution summary grid. It's about 70% directional probability of continued down movement with a 65% backtest accuracy. So again, bonds are waiting to see what the Feds are going to do. Also, because it's going to affect their values. Right now, you know, stocks are trying to show some impetus to move up, bonds to move down. So take that as it may. Things are going to really be subject to that Fed meeting on the 10th and 11th of next week. What do we see with gold? Gold also can be seen as a safe haven. Gold up a little bit for the day, 0.06%, but again, pretty much flat. Look at what gold's been doing over the last several days, starting on Tuesday. just sort of sliding sideways, sort of waiting to see what's going to happen. But we're going to the second week of green candles, moving a little bit higher, but again, no volume. Volume is what helps us feel good about price movement. It shows you that price movement has something behind it. And that is, you got buyers and or sellers behind it. Here, we don't have anything to give us any strength of the conviction of the price movement. What about Bitcoin? Well, you can see the low volume in Bitcoin. You can see it on the 2-day, the half-day, and the weekly. Now, overall, though, we still have the prevailing sentiment in Bitcoin is down. It has been since October the 13th, since things reached a high on the week beginning October 6th, and then started sucking back and dying. But we do see the potential of look at the lows here. Do you see the lows for the last going on 3 weeks now? About the same spot. Maybe Bitcoin's trying to find a base. You can see it also on the half day here, where things moved down on Friday morning the 21st, perked up through Friday the 28th, and then back down again on Monday the 1st of December, and then up. Things sort of ranging around that same bottom. So we'll continue to watch and see if Bitcoin stays there or if it catches some fire. We did have a lot of conviction in that low, that most recent low of lows, the interim low as we call it, with all that volume. So we'll see if we start seeing some green candles. We see a 2-day green candle, but if we see some sustained green candles, particularly things going green with a spinning top on the weekly candle, that would be a telltale sign of a weekly vertical crossover. Speaking of weekly vertical crossovers, we've identified several of them for our Patreon members. That's one of the things we do on Thursday nights going into Friday is weekly vertical crossovers. That's where a weekly candles on one of the 500 stocks that we go through every week on the S&P 500, hence 500 stocks. We analyze those and look for the prime candidates for you to practice trade. That is either going from green to red or red to green. That is either bullish or bearish sentiment changing. And we send that out to our Patreon members along with early access. That is, we send out today on Thursday for tomorrow, Friday, our trade execution summary grid and our December 5-day plus ETF trading analysis and execution plan for the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, 20-year bonds, gold, and Bitcoin. If you're interested in supporting the work that we do here and underwriting the cost of this channel, you can do so by becoming a Patreon member. Follow the links in the show notes. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth.